All right, let's dive in, shall we? Today, we're going deep on setting up a business in Morocco.
Sounds exciting.
I know, right? And we've got some great source material to work with, a real first-hand account, which, let's be honest, is always the most interesting stuff.
Absolutely. There's nothing like hearing it straight from someone who's been there, done that.
Exactly. And from what I've been reading, it seems like you are particularly interested in the whole picture, the how-to A&D, the cultural sign of doing business in Morocco.
You got that right.
So let's get into it. The source starts off by talking about, those initial concerns that most people probably have when they think about starting a business in a new country. Legal paperwork, complicated procedures, all that jazz. Did you find that part resonated with you?
Oh, for sure. I think those worries are pretty universal, especially when you're talking about a place as vibrant and, let's face it, sometimes as mysterious as Morocco.
Yeah, mysterious is a good word. But the source really emphasizes how having a good local team on their side made all the difference in navigating those potential headaches. Like, they specifically mention feeling so much more at ease once they had local expertise in the mix.
Right, and that makes total sense. It's like having a Sherpa guide you through the Himalayas, someone who knows the terrain, the shortcuts, the hidden dangers.
Exactly. They know where the pitfalls are, and they can help you avoid them.
And not just the literal pitfalls either, right? They can help you navigate the cultural landscape too, the unspoken rules of doing business in Morocco.
Oh, absolutely. Because the paperwork's one thing, but understanding the cultural context, the etiquette, that's got to be just as crucial.
For sure. And that's where having those local partners is pure gold. They can decode the paperwork, make sure you're compliant with regulations, and basically smooth the way for you.
So it's less about feeling overwhelmed and lost and more about feeling confident and supported. And speaking of feeling supported, the source also talks about how surprisingly easy the business registration process was. They even mention handling everything remotely at first. That's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is, especially when you compare it to the horror stories you sometimes hear about bureaucratic nightmares in other countries. It seems like Morocco is really making an effort to attract international businesses by making things more streamlined and user-friendly.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're putting their money where their mouth is. I mean, think about it. They're offering remote registration. That's a huge step towards making things accessible.
It is. And what's even more impressive is that the source mentions receiving regular updates throughout the process, keeping them in the loop every step of the way. That kind of transparency must have been super reassuring.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about building trust, right? And not just trust in the system, but trust in the people you're working with.
Right. Because, let's be honest, starting a business anywhere is a leap of faith, but especially in a new country. So having those clear lines of communication, knowing what's happening and when, that's got to be a game changer.
Totally agree. And you know what else is a game changer? The source talking about how easy it was to open a bank account. Now, that's something I did not see coming.
Yeah, that one caught me off guard too. I mean, opening a bank account in a foreign country, that's usually the stuff of nightmares, right? All that paperwork, the red tape, the endless waiting.
Oh, tell me about it. But the source paints a completely different picture. They're talking about a smooth, efficient process, helpful bank staff. Like, it almost sounds too good to be true.
Right, but that's the thing with first-hand accounts. They challenge our preconceived notions. And maybe, just maybe, Morocco is really on to something with this whole ease of doing business thing.
Maybe they are. But you know what's even more fascinating to me? How the source then shifts gears and starts talking about the cultural side of doing business in Morocco. And how, like, relationships are everything.
Ah, yes, the human element. And I think this is where the conversation gets really juicy, because it goes beyond just the mechanics of setting up shop. It dives into the heart of what it means to do business in a culture that prioritizes connection and trust.
Totally. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Like in so many Western business cultures, it's all about transactions, about getting the deal done as quickly and efficiently as possible. But in Morocco, it seems like it's more about cultivating genuine relationships, about investing in those personal connections.
It is. It's about understanding that business isn't just about contracts and numbers. It's about people. It's about building trust and rapport and honoring those relationships over time.
So it's less about signing on the dotted line and more about, I don't know, sharing a meal together, getting to know each other on a personal level, understanding each other's perspectives.
Exactly. And the source really drives home this point by talking about how those personal interactions, the meals shared, the social gatherings attended, the genuine conversations had, they were just as important, if not more important, than any formal business meeting.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. It sounds like networking in Morocco is a whole different ballgame.
It is. It's not just about collecting business cards or making small talk at industry events. It's about cultivating meaningful connections that can lead to, well, pretty much anything.
It's like they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Hmm.
But in Morocco, it's more than just knowing them. It's about having that strong, trusting relationship.
Right. Because those relationships, they open doors, they create opportunities, they pave the way for success in a way that transactional interactions just can't.
So if we had to distill the source's message into like 3 key takeaways, what would they be?
Okay, let's see. First, find yourself a fantastic local team. They're your guides, your translators, your cultural ambassadors, all rolled into one.
Couldn't agree more. Second,
Be open to new experiences. Embrace the differences, the cultural nuances, the unexpected turns. That's where the real magic
the
happens.
magic and the growth, right. And lastly,
Embrace the relationship-focused approach to business. Invest in those personal connections. Nurture them, honor them. Because in Morocco, business is personal. And maybe, just maybe, that's a lesson we could all stand to learn no matter where we're doing business.
I love that. It's like, what if we took that Moroccan approach to relationship building and applied it to our businesses globally? What kind of impact could that have?
That's a fantastic question, and one I encourage everyone listening to ponder. Could nurturing authentic connections be the key to unlocking not just business success, and a more harmonious and fulfilling way of interacting with each other, no matter where we are in the world?
That's some deep food for thought. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today.
Time flies when you're having fun and learning a ton.
It really does. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
Always.